G'day folks. So over the last couple weeks I've had lots of comments on my YouTube channel and my website about how difficult it is for new users, people who have just bought a GoPro, to get started. It can be a little overwhelming and a little complicated. So I thought I'd make a series of videos aimed at new users, people who have just bought a GoPro or are planning on getting a GoPro over the coming weeks. So if you're a subscriber to my channel and this video has appeared in your feed, you can probably skip this video as there'll be nothing of interest for you in it. Or you can watch it. So in this series I'm going to do a few videos. This first video is basically going to cover the basic functions of the camera, getting it turned on for the first time, charging it, memory, powering it up, installing the battery, just all the stuff you need to get up and running and recording your first video. Now with your GoPro you're going to need to pick up some memory. Here I've got a Lexar and a Samsung. The other common one is SanDisk. Now it doesn't matter what memory you go with as long as it's a class 10 card. Basically, you want to get as fast as a data rate transfer as you can. When recording in 4K or doing bursts, it needs to be able to write to this memory very quickly, large amounts of data, so you want a nice fast memory card. I'll include some links down below of memory cards I do recommend. So now we're going to install the memory and the battery into our GoPro Hero 5 Black. So we're just going to press the button at the bottom, slide, and it'll just pop right open. Then you need to locate the little memory card slot in the battery compartment. It's right there at the front of the camera. You're going to take your memory, the metal connectors go to the front of the camera, and you're just going to gently slide it in until it clicks. It'll stay flush in there and you know it's installed correctly. The next we're going to put our battery in, and just to line it up, the logo goes to the front of the camera as well. So we're just going to push it in until it snaps in. We're going to close the door and then slide it back in until it clicks. Now it's a good idea after you've had the door open, just take a look, make sure everything is flush and tight. If there's any gaps left in there, the camera is no longer waterproof. The Hero 5 Black, one of the new features is that it's waterproof just as it is without a frame, but if one of these doors, either the battery compartment or the charging door, is left open a little bit, it's going to get some water in there and it will damage your camera. Now that we have our memory and battery installed, it's time that we charge up the GoPro. It does come shipped with a little bit of power, but I would recommend charging it before you use it. So to charge our GoPro, there's a couple different ways we can do it, but first we need to access the charging port. So we press in the little button there and just pull the door down and then open it up. You're going to use the USB-C cable. The smaller end is going to plug into the USB-C port. You're not going to plug this end into a computer USB port or a cell phone charger. That will work as well. Alternatively, you can pick up a device like this. This is a power bank by Anker, and it's one of those things that I really recommend getting if you're new to GoPro. This is one of those accessories that you should always have on hand. Not only can you charge your GoPro with this when you're out or at home, you can charge it on the fly when you need it. So while charging, there's a red light at the top and a red light at the bottom. Those will stay illuminated until it's fully charged. Once it's fully charged, those red lights will turn off and you're ready to go. When you're done charging, just unplug the USB-C cable. We're going to close the door, push it in until it clicks, and again, just double check to make sure everything is flush and it's closed properly. So now that we have the memory and the battery installed, we're going to power it on for the first time, and we do so by clicking on the mode button on the side. The camera will start up, and right away it's going to go to a welcome screen, because if this is your first time turning the camera on, we've got to set a few settings. If you've had your camera on already and done this, you can just fast forward a little bit. So basically the first thing, it's going to ask us what language we're going to use, and you can scroll through the list to find the appropriate language. I'm going to go with English. It's going to now ask us to set the date. It's 2017, 23rd, 3rd month. So once you have your date set, just hit the check mark up at the top. It's now going to ask us to set the time. And again, when you're done, hit the check mark. Now it's going to ask us if we want to turn on GPS in the next option. And I'm going to turn mine on. You don't have to. Basically, it just embeds your GPS coordinates and different telemetry data within your videos. It's not something everybody uses, so if you're not sure what it is, or you're not going to use it, you can just go ahead and leave it off for now. It can be enabled later, and it will save some battery power if you're not going to be using it. Now it'll ask us if we want to do a little camera tour. If you've already done the camera tour, then you can just exit out. I'm going to exit out for the sake of this video, but you can go ahead and do the camera tour if you'd like. Now anytime you want to take that camera tour again, just swipe down from the top, go to Preferences, and there's an option there that says Camera Tour. Just click on that and that will redo the tour. Now this isn't necessary, but I always recommend, if you've just installed a brand new memory card, I would definitely format it. Formatting basically structures the card, it erases data that's on there, and I like with new memory cards just to format it, just to make sure that everything is okay and you don't accidentally get corrupt data. If your GoPro's not already on, go ahead and power it on. So to format the memory card that we've installed, we're going to swipe down from the top and we're going to click on Preferences. From here we're going to scroll down near the bottom until we see the option of Format SD card. So what we're going to do is we're going to now click on Format SD card. Now keep in mind, if it's a card from another camera, doing this is going to delete everything on the card, so only do it if there's stuff on there you don't want, or if it's a brand new one. This is also the best way to delete files on your memory card if you don't need them. If you've got a lot of files on there and you just want to start with a fresh card, you format it and that'll delete everything. So we're going to just hit the delete. Now when it's done, it just goes back to the main screen, so we can exit out of there. So now we're at the main screen, and this is where we can change all our settings. We get a view of what we're recording. Basically, there's a few different modes that I'm going to go over with you in this video. There's a lot to learn and some advanced stuff, but for this video we're just going to keep things basic to get you up and recording and stuff you need to know right away. So down in the bottom left hand corner you're going to see a little camera icon. If we click on it, that's going to bring up all our modes. The first mode is video mode, second mode is photo mode, third mode is time-lapse. And within each mode there's a few different things we can do. In the video mode, the standard is video. You can do video and photo and looping, and I'll go over them in some upcoming videos, what those are for. In photo mode, we can do a standard photography, night photography, and bursts. And again, I'll go over more of them in upcoming videos. And in time-lapse, we have different time-lapses we can create. We can do a time-lapse video, we can do a time-lapse photo, and we can do a night-lapse photo. So let's get everything set up to record video. So from the video mode, we're just going to select to make sure it's on video. Back at the main screen, it's going to give us some options along the bottom here and to the side. So the first is our resolution. If we click on it, it gives us all different resolutions we can film at. 1080 is a very common one that a lot of people film at. If you're going to be editing on your cell phone or on a slower computer, I would definitely shoot at 1080. I'm not going to go over all of them at this video. Again, this is basic to get you up and running. The two main resolutions that you're probably at this point being new are wanting to record at is 1080 and 2.7. So to switch between the two, it's as simple as touching it. So now you can see I've switched to a resolution of 2.7K. And to go back to 1080, I can just click on that and it'll go back to 1080. Now the next is our frames per second. So when it comes to frames per second, there's a lot to it, and it's a lot to do with speeding up your footage, slowing it down, capturing more data. For me, I always film at either 60 frames a second or 30 frames a second. Most of the time I'm filming at 60 frames a second, and the reason being is that when I'm editing my footage later, it allows me to slow it down if I need to a little bit, and without losing data, or losing quality I should say. The next option is our field of view. So basically field of view is how much data, how much of the surroundings you're going to fit in the lens. The GoPro has an extremely wide angle lens, and the field of view allows you to capture a lot from a short distance. On the right hand side here we have all the different field of views we can set. We have super view, Super view allows you to capture a lot of data, but there is a lot of distortion. If you look at my computer monitor there, see how it's got a lot of curvature. Wide is the most common that people use. You can go to a medium. Linear was introduced with the Hero 5, and it helps get rid of so there's no lens distortion. And a lot of people, if they're vlogging, will use linear. And then there's narrow. I do most of my shooting on wide. As you change these, you go through this list, it's giving you a live preview of what kind of data you're going to be capturing, what the field of view is going to look like. So the next thing we can go over here, if we swipe to the right from the home screen, it's going to give us some more options we can play with. The first is Pro Tune. Pro Tune allows you to fine tune some of the video settings, the color, the white balance, different things like that. If you're new to GoPro, I would just definitely leave that off for now. You're still going to get great footage, and you don't really have to have that enabled yet. The next option is video stabilization. By default it's on, and I would definitely leave it on. It's going to help smooth out your video. Video stabilization will work in all resolutions that you shoot at except 4K. As it crops the video, that's how it achieves its stabilization. I would definitely leave that on, and we'll go over to the next one. If you're in a dark situation, it'll lower down the frame rate to give you better quality video. Again, that's on by default, and I would just recommend leaving that on until you get to know the ins and outs of the camera. The next is manual audio control. Now, this is off by default. So again, until you've really learned your GoPro, I would definitely just leave that off and let GoPro manage the audio. So to start recording, we're just going to hit the red record button on the top. This indication up here will tell us how long we've been recording for. Down at the bottom, it's going to give us some general details about the settings we have. When we're done, we hit the red button at the top again, and that'll stop the recording. So the other way you can record with your GoPro is just by pressing the record button while the camera's powered off. If something's happening and you want to grab something quick, you can hit record. The camera's going to turn on and start recording right away. And when you're done, hit the record button again. It's going to save it and power back off. So that's good for capturing things when you don't have a lot of time. You need to grab something on the fly quick, but it doesn't allow you to change any settings. It's just going to record at the default settings that you had last time. So now that I've shown you how to take videos on your GoPro, I'm going to show you how to take photos. We're going to click this little icon, the little camera icon on the left-hand side. That brings us to our mode menu. And from here, we're going to go to the middle, the little camera icon, and that's going to switch us over to photo. And from here, we can select different modes. We have photo mode, night mode, and burst. Night mode allows you to take photos in dark situations at night. It basically gives you a longer exposure. And burst takes a whole bunch of images all at once. Now, we're going to get into them in other videos. So for this one, we're just going to select the top option where it says photo. And that's going to put us into photo mode. Now, if we swipe from the right, it's going to give us some advanced options, kind of like video, but we're going to leave all them alone. I definitely wouldn't get into that until you've become comfortable with your camera. So the one thing that you might want to change here is your field of view. It's kind of like video. You can go from wide, linear, medium, and narrow. Linear is common now. It kind of gets rid of the fisheye effect, which a lot of people like. I quite often shoot in wide. I kind of like the fisheye look, and it just allows me to capture more data. And it can always be fixed in editing later on if you so wish. So just like video, we're going to line up our shot, and then we're just going to hit the shutter button at the top, and that's going to take a photo. Just like that, simple as that. Now, another way you can change modes is using the mode button at the side. If we're in video mode right now, we can simply click this mode button on the side, and you can see that's now put us into photo mode. If I click it again, it's going to put us in burst. If I click again, it's going to put us in time lapse, and then back to video. So you can cycle through the modes with the mode button or by using the touch screen on the back. So one other thing I want to go over in the introduction video is voice control. Voice control is really handy. Now by default it's disabled on the Hero 5 Black, so we have to enable it. So to enable it, we're going to swipe down from the top, and this little picture of the head, we're just going to click on it, and it's going to ask us, do you want to enable voice control? We're going to hit on. It's going to ask us the language, or keep English as our language. We're going to hit yes, and there you go. Now it only asks you that the very first time you enable it. From here we can enable it and disable it just by clicking on it. You can see that. So it doesn't ask you that every time. And sometimes you do want it disabled, especially if you're in a room and you're talking about GoPros. Sometimes it can pick up others' voices as GoPro commands. With the voice enabled, we can do simple tasks like GoPro, start recording. You can see now it's recording. And now we can say GoPro, stop recording. The voice control can come in really handy because if you've got this mounted on a selfie stick or an extension pole, sometimes the record button's not accessible to you, so just by speaking it, it'll start the action. The other nice thing about voice is that you don't have to switch back and forth between the modes. And what I mean by that is right now I'm in video mode, but if I want to take a photo quick of something, GoPro, take a photo. See, it just took a photo and I didn't even have to switch modes. Now it left me in photo mode. It switched the mode for me basically. Now that works both ways. I'm in photo mode right now, but I can simply say, GoPro, start recording. And you can see it's now recording video. GoPro, stop recording. So yeah, that can come in handy. If you need to grab something quick and you don't want to fumble around trying to switch modes, you can just speak it, tell it what you want it to do, and it'll do it. Now there's a lot of different voice commands for it, and I'm not going to go over them in this video, but I do have a link that I'll put down below to my website where I have a full list of all the commands and different things you can do with your voice, so you can go and check that out after. So now we've recorded some clips, and it's time to do some playback to check out what we've captured. So if you want to preview any of the media you've captured, we just slide from the left hand side, and that's going to bring up all our media. And then here it's going to show us all our videos and photos. I don't really have anything on here except the stuff I have from the demonstration. So what we're going to do is we're just going to watch this video. Say we're just going to click on it, and we can hit play, and it'll play back for us. There are some different editing things you can do within the playback, but we're not going to get into that for this video. One thing I do want to show you here is if you're in a situation where you need the playback audio louder or softer, if you don't want people hearing some screaming or different things that might be on there, swipe up from the bottom and that reveals a volume slider, and we can turn it down or turn it up to make it a more appropriate level. We can swipe down to get rid of that. To go back to all of our media, we click on this little icon up here at the top, the little squares. That'll bring us back to where everything is stored. And we can bring up a photo. From here we can delete. So now, to power off our GoPro, if we've done recording, done different things, you hold the mode button in with a long press. Camera will beep a few times and then it'll just go ahead and power off. Now I just want to touch base with accessories and mounts. It's not too hard to get carried away with accessories and mounts that a lot of times you never end up using. But there are a few pieces of essential hardware that I always recommend, and I'll kind of go over them now. The first is the GoPro 3-way. The next is the GoPro dual charger. And then the third is a power bank. Now, by far, the GoPro 3-way is my most used accessory. Just in its basic form like this, it's a handheld grip to help keep your video stable. It can be opened up and extended to become like a selfie stick and extension, and can be used to get various angles. The bottom unscrews to reveal a tripod that can be then reattached. So yeah, this is probably my most used GoPro accessory. It's a little pricey, but definitely worth it. It's built solidly. I've been using this one now for about a year and a half, The next is a dual charger. With this you can charge 2 batteries at once. The nice thing about this dual charger compared to some of the other chargers on the market is that when you insert a battery to charge, it's in there firmly, it won't come out. So that allows you to charge on the go, and I'll kind of show you that here in a minute. The other thing, when you purchase the GoPro dual charger, you also get another GoPro battery for the Hero 5 Black, which is nice, and you might even want to pick up a third. I think having 3 batteries for your GoPro is the perfect amount, and you always have 1 in the camera and 2 in here ready to charge. The next is a power bank. This is the Anker 10,000 milliamp power bank and can recharge your GoPro 6 to 7 times. It's always nice to have one of these things kicking around because you might need to charge your GoPro when you're out and you're not around hydro. You can also charge your batteries on the go in your backpack by using the dual charger. Plug them in together like that, and you can now throw this in a backpack and it'll charge while you're hiking, doing whatever you're doing. So basically that's all I'm going to cover for this video. I don't want to go over too much, and I know it can be a little overwhelming, so I'm going to break it up. So we've got the camera running, we've learned some of the recording modes, how to record, quick capture by just pressing that, and previewing our media. So for the next part of this video that will be coming shortly, I'm going to go over transferring the media, and we're going to be using a couple different techniques to transfer the media from our GoPro over to our computer or to our smartphone, where we can share it, edit it, and do different things with it. I'm going to include some links down below in the description down here, basically going over some accessories that you might want to pick up if you're new to GoPro, stuff that I recommend that is good to have, especially when just getting started. I'm going to include a link to my website where I have many more reviews and different tips and tricks to help get you going. You can check that out as well. Don't forget to like this video if you found it useful, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the other parts of our series that will be coming soon. I want to thank you for watching. You can click right here to subscribe, and over here I'll include some other videos that you might be interested in watching as well. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you in the next one.